Hi, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. Okay, so do you want to tell me about like where you did your student teaching and what kind of your job was?
I did my student teaching at Sonawa Middle School, and I worked with resource kids. I also did a whole bunch of practicum placements in other places as well, and I also helped out when I was in high school in special ed um, classrooms as well.
Sweet. And then can you give me some examples of like some of the disabilities the kids had that you worked with?
In my student teaching, I had resource kids, so they were pretty closer to um, like regular academic level. But I've also worked with kids who um, couldn't really talk. Like they couldn't really move they could move their mouths, but they couldn't really form words. There's also some kids with autism, just various forms of that. It kind of, with my kids, their disabilities, they can have like multiple disabilities. And, like they may have one like that's more prominent, but they may still have like autism stacked onto that. Kind of just depends.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. And then with these kids, and working with them through a school, did you like face any challenges during meal times? Um, and if so, what were they?
I kind of, well, yeah, kind of depends on the kid. I know one of the girls that I worked with, she couldn't really move her mouth. And so she just had like, she'd have to bring these meal replacement drinks that she would drink. She couldn't eat regular food. And she could, I know her favorite snack was Oreos because they dissolved in her mouth because she couldn't chew.
Oh,
But so she would eat those and other snacks, but it was kind of a lot of the other kids would go like during lunchtime and go to the cafeteria and eat regular food. She would just bring her little drink and have a straw with it and just drink that every day.
yeah.
Yeah,
So would you guys go to the cafeteria with the kids or were they kind of just like were they able to go off on their own?
it kind of depended. I mean, one of the classes that I worked in was a self-contained class, and so we did go with them. Other times we kind of just sent them off, but we always had like aides there to kind of keep an eye on them because it was also for like their safety. Other kids sometimes are not the nicest, and they're not
Yeah.
messing with these kids just because of their behavior.
Hmm. Okay. Um, and like so like the girl with the who had to drink from a straw, were there ever times when like she didn't want to eat or she wanted to eat something that she couldn't and you guys had to try to like explain to her that like she couldn't?
Um, I mean, she couldn't really talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she couldn't really talk. I mean, I know there were a couple times, like, because they would just have her, like, I think her mom would just bring those in and they would just have like a stock and that they would keep in the classroom. But I
Mm.
remember there being a couple times where they just couldn't, or they didn't have the thing for her. And so
Oh,
they just ran out of them and they didn't know. And so I think they would just give her like juice and it's pretty much all she would be able to have that day because
wow.
she couldn't really eat
Mm.
anything else. I mean,
Yeah.
I think she kind of, I mean, she was high school, so she kind of understood, but I could see her kind of thinking that because that class was self-contained. So we did a lot of like projects and they would do a lot of things with food. And I know like around Christmas time, they built like little snowmen out of marshmallows and all the other kids were able to eat it, but she couldn't.
Yeah.
She couldn't chew. So I think just because she was older, she maybe could understand a little bit more, probably going through this her whole life, but
Yeah.
she was younger. I could definitely see her being like, why can't I eat this?
Yeah, yeah. So there was still some like emotion attached to like
Mhm.
her disability and not being able to eat like the certain foods that the other kids could.
Mhm.
Um, is she the only kid you've ever worked with that had like such a severe um like eating disability?
Um, I would say so, yeah. I mean, like I said, the other kids could eat. There was a lot of times they just didn't want to eat,
Yeah.
but
Would you get,
they have to. I mean, otherwise they're
yeah.
be all like moody later.
Yeah, definitely. Did you guys have any like special tricks or anything like that that you would get them to do if they didn't want to eat?
I think a lot of it was, I mean, because we would take breaks and we would have like recess time and stuff, and we're like, well, if you're not gonna eat, you're not gonna be able to have your break and your recess time, and to them, like that's kind of upsetting because
Yeah.
they kind of need that energy or that time to release that energy and kind of hang around with the other kids.
Yeah, definitely. Sweet. All right. Well, that is all of the questions I have for you. Um, yeah, thank you so much for coming and answering some of my questions. All right. Sweet. So, thank you. I'm just going to stop recording.